You are listening to the second part of the story. You can listen to the first part in the previous video or by following the link in the description under this video. Happy listening. I started to feel the heat when she started putting on her club dresses and staying past midnight. Late one evening, I watched her getting dressed for an evening out. She put on a show for me, wearing a dark blue dress that I had never seen before. The back opened with a V-shaped slit almost to the tailbone, and the skirt was somehow foamy and tried to show the full length of her chiseled legs. My mouth opened, and my mouth began to water. Yes, she could still do that to me, and she liked it. She stood up and I saw her from the front. All I can say is that she was about 3 deep breaths away from wardrobe damage. I muttered, "Are you wearing this?" "Can I be more cliched?" Buckley laughed, her silvery laugh. "You know, I have to dress to impress." "Make an impression?" I snorted. "Buckley, you could put on a burlap sack and be the sexiest woman in any room you walked into." I couldn't do that. Something would get through the matting. She smiled at me and did something that made her breasts stand out through her scandalous dress like hard little bullets. I tried to get her to be serious. "Buckley, I know you have to deal with these hotel guys. I don't mind you going out in the evenings, although I start to worry when it's past midnight. I know how it affects guys when you dress like that. Are you sure some of them don't have the wrong thoughts?" "I know it is, baby. That's the whole point." She was still laughing at me, but she must have seen something in my face. She took my face in both hands and turned her silver eyes on me. "Blake, I can see that you're worried because you won't be able to say no if things get out of control. Remember the rules. That's why they exist. Even when you're not looking, I always follow them completely. The wild child remains on a leash until he returns to your home. It's all about making people think they can get something they'll never touch. Men or women, it doesn't matter. I flirt with them, and I'm very good at it. I get what I want from them, and then I come home to you. This is always the most pleasant thing." Buckley glanced at her phone and quickly tossed it into her purse. "I'll be late if I don't leave now," she said. "Please trust me, Blake. I love you very much. I will never do anything wrong. Never." One deep kiss and she was gone. She returned home only at 2 in the morning. Her clothes and hair were disheveled, and when I hugged and kissed her, she clung to me, as she did only when she was dead tired. I carried her to the bathroom, ran a bath for her, and washed that incredible body that I now knew so well. I admit I was on guard, expecting to see and smell smells that shouldn't be there, but they weren't. She fell asleep before I finished drying her. We talked about it the next day. She was upset that I didn't trust her, and I was upset that she dressed like a party girl to flirt with other men. "I see that you're having a hard time, Blake, and I'm sorry. I wish things were different, but it's impossible. People who actually mean something are finally starting to recognize me and what I can do. I can't give up. I always follow our rules and always will. If we need more rules or different rules, fine, let's do it. I'll do everything in my power to make your life easier, but at some point, you'll just have to trust me." "Why does it have to be this way, Buckley? Can't you find something to do in your specialty where you don't have to do all this? For example, have you been to a hotel lately? No. With what you have here, you wouldn't need it. Everyone, from managers to receptionists and cleaning ladies, flaunts it. When you moved here, you refused to take a job that was below your capabilities. I supported you by moving across the country to be with you. Now it's my turn. From that moment on, everything went wrong. This was our first big fight, and we were miserable for several days. In the end, we agreed that she would tell me where she would be and until what time. If I want, I can come without telling her and take a look. I should have kept a low profile and not interfere with what she was doing. I wasn't happy with it, but if I didn't leave her, and that wasn't an option, then it was the best I could get. Buckley now worked 2 or 3 evenings a week. When she left, I put my hands on her strong, beautiful shoulders, looked into her silver eyes and said, "Take care of my heart, baby. I will return him safe and sound." She said everything seriously, and I knew it. but the evenings waiting for her to return home became longer and longer. Finally, I decided that I would accept her offer. Usually there is dinner on such occasions, but she advised me to skip this dinner unless I suddenly developed a taste for rubber chicken. I showed up around 9, said Buckley Smythe was waiting for me, and was led inside. I immediately understood what Buckley meant when she spoke about these people. To me, they looked like a bunch of posers. Everything was fake except the tan. And then Buckley showed up. I immediately noticed her from my place in the darkest corner of the hall. She was beaming. She radiated more sexuality than all the other women in the room without even trying. And believe me, they tried. I watched Buckley work in the gym. She was an amateur professional. She made eye contact with some, and it was obvious that they were speaking professionally. I saw the respect on their faces as they listened to her. She flirted with most of them. She mastered it thoroughly. The dress was not just an evening dress. It was a tool of her profession. She seemed to know exactly what it would reveal or hide with her every move, and it did not hide very much. There was so much beauty in him that they did not know where to look. I knew how they felt. Buckley worked next to her, almost as if she was dancing with the guy, making him feel like the two of them were the only people in the world. At that moment, there was nothing in his world but Buckley. Then I noticed her eyes. They had a silvery sheen that promised the world, making any guy go to the ends of the earth for her. I had gotten used to thinking that this look was only meant for me, but it seemed that wasn't the case. Buckley followed all the rules and the wild child was on a leash as far as I could tell, but I had a very bad feeling about the whole thing. The bad feeling intensified when I didn't see her for about 5 minutes. I promised not to interfere, but still I couldn't help but go look for her. Then a hand fell on my shoulder and a voice sounded in my ear. "Blake, are you okay?" I sank helplessly into a chair and let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "I think yes, just barely. Where did you learn this?" Buckley giggled. "Don't know. Years of practice." She sat down next to me. "I can't stay long, but I saw your face and I thought you were having trouble with it, so I wanted to make sure you were okay." "Is it true? Exactly?" "I don't know, Buckley. I think yes. I see that you follow the rules. I don't know what's worse, seeing it or imagining it. I wish you wouldn't do this, but apparently that's not an option." "Blake, it's only going to get worse. Later there will be a DJ, and I will have to dance with them. I can't set them on fire like I do when we go to the club. I have to be polite. I'm good at it, but still, sometimes they get a little bit of what I don't really want. Can you handle this?" "I guess I'll have to, don't I?" Buckley nodded and took my hands in hers. "Blake, I love you. I've loved you for 20 years. I can't show you how much right now because these guys might think you're competing with them in business. I will be home by 12, and then I will show you that I am only yours, always. And tomorrow, we'll talk. Fine?" She glanced briefly towards the room. "I have to go back there. Will you be okay?" I only had time to nod, and she left. She was right. The dancing was worse. I could feel my blood pressure rising as one by one these hotel industry idiots danced with her. Instead of being content with the most beautiful woman they had ever held in their arms, they used every dance as an opportunity to exploit the weak spots in Buckley's dress, of which there were plenty. She did everything she could to avoid them, and she succeeded. I saw how her eyes flashed every now and then, and I understood that she wanted to drive a stiletto into her leg. However, they got away with much more than I was comfortable with. "She's impressive, isn't she?" Some guy sat down at my table. "I don't dance, at least not very well, but it's much more interesting to just sit here and watch her. I've never seen anything like it. We introduced ourselves to each other. Does she work for you?" I asked it. "If," he answered, laughing. "The thing is, she has all this," he pointed towards the dance floor, "and the intelligence that goes with it. I'll never be able to afford it." We looked at her for a few moments. "Each one of these guys thinks he's this close to hooking her." He raised his fingers an inch apart. "They'll argue on the way home about who gets it first, But the truth is that neither of them has a chance. Why? She will dance with you, smile at you, make you feel like you are the only man in the world. But once you cross one of her lines, that's it. She'll be polite, but you always know where the line is, and she'll always go off on her own. Always. And it's not that she doesn't get offers. We watched her in silence for some time. She danced every dance, and there was always someone waiting for her when she left the floor. My interlocutor shook his head and smiled. They never give up. You know, she reminds me of Elizabeth I, whom, Queen of England, 1558-1603. When she came to the throne, England was a third-rate power, and women were not supposed to rule. Everyone wanted to marry her off, preferably to someone strong enough to protect little England. Elizabeth was not a beauty, strictly speaking, but she was 25 and had that thing that made men go crazy for her, just like Buckley. The only difference is that Buckley is the most beautiful woman most of these guys have ever seen. Elizabeth also danced beautifully and loved to do it. She flirted, turned them on, favored one after the other, until finally England was strong enough to tell them all to go to hell. She died at 70, still unmarried, and was one of England's finest rulers. I was thinking about this when my new acquaintance spoke again. I think I will go. It's early to get up tomorrow, and I don't know how to work with people like she does. We giggled together. For your information, she's no different tonight when you're here than she is any other time, and I've never seen her drink. Let me leave you my business card and tell you that I envy you. He left me a business card and left. Wait a minute, how did he know I was Buckley's fiancée? Buckley is tired. She hit it well, and still enjoyed the flirting, but she didn't fool me. I wondered how much of this was due to her concern for me and decided to leave. I stood up, which attracted her attention. She, of course, knew where I was. I winked at her, waved, and left. When she returned home, it was closer to 1 than 12, and she was tired. The festive dress had clearly been attacked and received some damage, but it held firm, just like its owner. I relieved her of her duties and put Buckley to bed. Her legs looked red and a little swollen, and I massaged them until she fell asleep. The next day, we discussed everything. To tell you the truth, I'm starting to get a little tired of this too, Buckley said. I know it's hard for you to see me dress up and then sit at home and wait for me, and it's hard for me too. I just want to keep in touch with people who can help me, and for most of them, there's only one way to do that. What happens next when they realize that they won't get what they want from you? The plan is that by then, I'll be in a good enough position to tell them all to go to hell. Of course, politely. I remembered what Jeff said about Queen Elizabeth. Do you have a clear idea of what you want, Buckley? You said you'd take the industry by storm, and judging by last night, you've definitely turned heads. Where will you go next? We talked about this for a while. She was interested that I had met Jeff, whom she called one of the good guys, and intrigued when I told her that he didn't think he could afford her. She decided to talk to him a little. We didn't decide or change anything, but she began to work less in the evenings and come home earlier. I gradually adapted, became more confident in myself and in her. We flew to California to get married. My parents were delighted, and even her mother seemed to have calmed herself enough so as not to embarrass her. We had a romantic honeymoon in Mexico and embraced family life. It was the happiest time of my life, and Buckley just blossomed. The wild antics had died down and were usually confined to the home. It used to be once every 3 months or so that she would drag me outside, and we would go to the clubs. I realized that she needed this excitement, this admiration, and that she enjoyed the chasey that swirled around her. She played with the players and gave the good guys the dance of their lives. We had been married for 3 years, and we were out on one of those Buckley nights when things started to get complicated. I went to the bar for some fresh drinks, and when I returned to our booth, one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen was sitting there with Buckley. Blake, this is Sinclair. Buckley introduced me. She asked me to dance. I told her that I'm married and we should ask you. When you're married to a beauty like Buckley, other beautiful women kind of fade into the background. It takes a lot to get noticed. This Sinclair woman had everything she needed and more. Well, of course I'm fine, I stuttered. They both laughed at my tongueless state and went out onto the floor. It was like an explosion. They were both tall and so beautiful that it hurt me to look at them. A fast song was playing, and when it changed to a slow rhythm, I saw Sinclair look at me reproachfully. I pointed to my chest and muttered, "Who am I?" She threw back her head and laughed. She nodded, and I walked through the crowd of bodies towards her and Buckley. They pulled me into their arms, and I found myself between two of the most amazing women on the planet. Before I could get embarrassed, the dance was over, and they took me back to the booth. We talked for several hours. She liked to be called Sin. She was a lawyer, and she lived about 15 minutes away from us. She and Buckley sat side by side in the booth, and it was quite a contrast. Sin was a radiant milk chocolate beauty, her skin the color of coffee and cream. Her hair was a wild head of shiny black curls with shades of brown and blonde, and her face was like something out of the cover of a fashion magazine. Her eyes were huge, soft brown pools, and they were mesmerizing. We talked until I noticed Buckley yawn. I looked at my watch. It was 1 a.m. We walked Sin outside and put him in a taxi, while we found our car and drove home. I felt Buckley studying me. "Did you like her, Blake?" she asked. "Yes, she's cute. I think you like her too." She blushed slightly. "Yes, I like it," she said. "I would like to be her friend." "Yes, me too," I said. "Buckley, are you setting me up? Did you know her before tonight?" She gasped. "No, I'm not setting you up, and I didn't know her. Why are you asking me this?" I pressed her head to my shoulder. "It's okay," I said. "We already had this conversation once, remember?" She nodded. "Are you angry with me, Blake?" Her voice sounded like the voice of a little frightened girl, and she was trembling. I squeezed it. "No, baby, I'm not angry. Do you think of it as a relationship in some way?" Her nod was almost imperceptible, as if she was unsure of herself. "I just met her, so I don't know her that well, but I think I'd like it." "I won't do anything you don't like, Blake. She gave me her number, but I'll just lose it if that's what you want." "Are you going to leave me?" I asked. She sobbed. "No, I knew you might think that, but I would never, ever leave you, Blake. Let's just please forget about it, okay?" "I am so sorry. I'll never think about it again." We arrived at our entrance. I helped her out and hugged her as we walked into the house. I led her into the bedroom and undressed us both, pulling her to me in her favorite position, reclining on top of me and stroking the silk of her back. "No, that's not what I want," I said. "I knew that about you, Buckley. I've known this since you came to live with me. We talked about this once. We should have talked about this more. I wish we had done this. You would never do anything behind my back, would you?" She shook her head. "No. I love you, Blake. I would never hurt you like that or disrespect you like that. You know it." "Yes, I know," I said. "We've been best friends since we were in school." "I know you. You want this, don't you?" "Not if it will be a problem for us." Her voice sounded pitiful. "I'm not some hormonal prostitute, Blake. I haven't been with a woman since the first time we slept. You know it too. I can live my whole life only with you and me and be the happiest woman in the world. I can't help what I want, but I can help what I do for it." I lay in silence for some time. "How about this?" I said. "Call her tomorrow. Invite her to dinner. Just remember that you and I are in the same bond, Buckley. BB, remember? Swear to me. You will never be with anyone who isn't with both of us, and you will never be with another man. I can't stand it." She cried, almost hysterically, for about 5 minutes while I just held her. When she looked up at me, they were swollen. "I swear," she managed to say. "Oh God, Blake, I was so afraid. Yes, we are one. I will never be with another man. You are the only man I need or want. I cannot believe this. I don't deserve you, Blake. I love you so much. Are you sure, baby? I can't lose you. I cannot live without you." "No, I'm not at all sure," I said. "I know that I want you to be happy. Let's just see how it goes, okay? If I say stop, will you stop?" "Yes, I will do whatever you say," she said. "I don't want to just jump into bed with just anyone. Although I really like her. She's the first woman in 3 years that I've thought like that about. She's beautiful, isn't she? She's funny and so smart. Do you think you will have the same feelings for her? Perhaps, I said. It's dangerous, Buckley. You know that, right? What if one of us starts to have feelings for her and the other doesn't? I don't know, she said. All I know is that I love you and that will never change. Will you stop loving me? No, I won't stop, I said. Let's just see how this goes, okay? If any of us feel uncomfortable, we will stop there. Right? The following weekend, we invited Xing over for dinner. She was just as gorgeous and charming as I remembered. I got the grill ready and we sat in the backyard. We played bocce ball and just relaxed, getting to know each other. Gradually, we began to spend more and more time together, and I realized that Buckley and Sin really liked each other. But I didn't know how Sin felt about me, or whether she liked men in general. I didn't have those conversations with her, and if she and Buckley did talk about it, Buckley didn't tell me anything. I asked Buckley, but she told me that Sin didn't know where her head was and was trying to figure it out. 5 months passed, and it began to seem that Sin was practically living with us. She would meet us for drinks and dance, and we would hang out together all the time. She became our best friend, and I wondered if there would be anything more between us. As for me, I was completely happy if everything remained as it was. The problem was Buckley. I didn't know whether she would be happy or not. She seemed happy, but was there something she wasn't telling me? Does she want more, or are we doing well? I received the answer quite quickly. On Friday at work, Buckley sent me a Snapchat telling me she had made dinner reservations and where we would meet. When I arrived, Sin was already there, but Buckley had not yet appeared. We ordered wine and sat for about 30 minutes. Buckley was still missing. I took out my phone to call her, but Sin snatched it from my hands. She stood up, walked around the booth, and moved closer to me, sitting down next to me. She took my hand, placed it on her shoulders, and leaned her head against me, with a sigh. She won't come, right? I asked. No, I'm afraid that you and I will be left alone, she said. You do not mind? I love the time Buckley and I spend with you, I said. I just don't understand a little of what's going on here. Are you afraid that I will eat you? She laughed. I think you're quite capable of this. I had to laugh. Bones and everything else, I think. Yes, you would be very tasty. She looked serious. Do you like me, Blake? Define like. I definitely wasn't going to say anything that would make Buckley uneasy, not to mention she wasn't here. Well, how can I say this? She thought. I guess I'll just jump in with both feet. Listen to me, please. Don't jump to conclusions, okay? I'm not sure what exactly I'm promising here, but yes, I'll listen. She took a deep breath but was interrupted by the waiter, who asked if we were ready to order. We placed an order, and she seemed to be having trouble getting started again. There's no easy way to say it, she finally said. I'm in love with Buckley. Well, I kinda knew it, I said. Me too. Well, I understand that you are in love, she said with a laugh, then became serious. This is where things get complicated. Do you love me? I mean, just as a friend? Very, I told her. I think both Buckley and I consider you our best friend. I love you so much too, she said. I'm not in love with you, but I love you very much. I could probably fall in love with you. You're a great guy, Blake. Buckley is very lucky to have you. Now you're embarrassing me. What are you getting at, Sin? I want her, Blake. Her voice was very soft and hoarse. The chill it sent down my spine was not comfortable. I know I can't have her at my disposal. It would never even occur to me to try to take her away from you. I couldn't even if I wanted to. You know this, right? I avoided answering. Have you both talked about this? She nodded, and all those curls bounced in a beautiful symphony. She told me what you were talking about. I guess I want to ask you if you could leave a piece of her for me. If you can, I will love you even more. And I know that I can spare a piece of me for you. Would this be interesting to you? Do you think you can love me? This has gone far enough. I think Buckley should be part of this conversation. I knew you would say that, she smiled. She caught the waiter's attention and gave him a thumbs up. He walked towards the bar and returned with Buckley. She slipped inside looking like the cat that ate the canary. "Oh, you little devil," I said. "You set this all up, right?" She nodded with excitement. "Yes, it was so fun. I've been keeping an eye on you two." "Well, you two are clearly cooking something," I said. "How about letting your ignorant husband in on this?" Sin stood up and they made me slide out of the booth. Buckley slid inside, Sin pushed me, and she sat outside, placing me between them. The food arrived before we could even talk, and we just relaxed, enjoying the cozy atmosphere and the fact that we were just best friends sharing a meal. After the waiter took our plates away and we had all drunk, Buckley and Sin snuggled up to me. "You are not such an ignorant husband as you said." Buckley looked at me with huge silver eyes. She laughed. "Well, maybe I exaggerated. You've always been ignorant, and that's one of the things I love most about you. But you are my husband, the man I love, and nothing will ever change that." "Do you believe in that?" "Yes. And I know you never lied to me," I said. "However, this could all change, and not necessarily in a good way." "Do you trust us?" asked Sin. "It depends on what you mean by trust," I said. "I believe that you will not kill me. I believe that Buckley loves me. And Sin, I believe that you love us both like a very good friend. I don't believe any of you would set me up for what you want. I don't think any of you have any intention of harming me. I'm just very doubtful about where this will take us. I don't like the idea of risking what Buckley and I have. What if the risk is completely in your hands? You will control everything completely?" Buckley asked. "So you want to say that at any moment I can say, 'Enough,' and it will suit both of you?" "That's exactly what I'm saying," Buckley replied. "Don't forget that we have known each other almost all our lives. Have I ever done anything to hurt you?" "Yes, dozens of times," I said. "You didn't know, so I understand what you're talking about." "I don't think you would intentionally hurt me." I turned my back to Xing and looked into my wife's amazing silver eyes. "Buckley, what if we started this and you wanted to continue and I said stop? I know you will, but will you be upset with me? Would it tear us apart?" "No, Blake, I swear." Her voice was low, but tense. "Blake, today, in this moment, I love you more than ever, and that will never change anything, but it will become even stronger. I will never be offended by you. I will love you even more for trying this, for allowing me to do this. You said you were putting all the risk in my hands. We have a package deal, remember? What if I mess everything up? What if I do something that hurts you?" Buckley smiled. "You won't do this," she said confidently. "You love me too much and know me too well." I felt Sin move closer to me, and she pressed her lips to my ear. "Take us home, Blake. I swear to God you will never regret this. I wish I could be as sure of this as she is." I left the restaurant with my thoughts confused. The fact that I was walking between two of the most beautiful women I had ever seen helped me forget about my problems. Plus, the fact that I loved them both and knew that they loved me was also very reassuring. Sin had his own car. Buckley had his own. So we were left alone with our thoughts. My thoughts began to clear up a little. I thought about it and decided that I had gone crazy. Either this was going to blow up before our eyes, which I knew we would all try to prevent, or I was just entering the realm of fantasy that most guys only dream about. Only God knew where this would lead, but one way or another, it happened. I felt like I had just been strapped in and was about to start a roller coaster ride. On the way home, I stopped at a flower shop. It seemed right to me. I chose 2 beautiful roses, one white for new beginnings and one red for Buckley. When I arrived at the house, both girls were already there, and the soft sounds of Diana Krall's "Turn Up the Quiet" were playing. The curtains on the sliding door leading to the pool were open, and the light filled the living room with a soft, pulsating glow. They were sitting on the sofa, and I saw 3 glasses of dark wine on the coffee table. The dark wine-colored goddess stepped out of the shadows and, taking 2 glasses, gracefully walked barefoot on the wooden floor towards me. Ripples of light played on her, shrouding her in mystery, the dark pools of her eyes sparkling. She moved closer to me and offered me a sip of wine. I drank. the sensations intensified by her offer. She placed the glasses on the side table, and I pulled her towards me, pressing my lips to hers. It was one of the most sensual experiences of my life. It took forever, but when she pulled away, her eyes were half closed. I picked up the white rose and, closing my eyes, touched it to my elegant lips. They parted slightly, and she sighed. I ran my hand over her slender neck and bare shoulders. She shuddered, and I pressed my lips to hers again. I felt the presence of someone behind me and a warm breath on my neck. Hands reached out to me, and I found myself sandwiched between two women. Hands from behind stretched upward. One caressed the tenderness of the goddess's cheek. The other moved in a circle on my chest. When one kiss ended, I turned around, and another began. The red rose followed the same path, and I was embraced by two beautiful women, each holding her own rose. "You are the most romantic man in the world," Buckley breathed into my ear. "Thank you, darling." Xing's lips touched my other ear. "I want to love you, Blake," she whispered. "Both of you." They took me by the hands and led me to the bedroom. On the way, I grabbed my glass of wine. I thought I might need it. They sat me down on the edge of the bed and started taking off my clothes. When I was left in only my underpants, I stopped them. "Hey, I'm not going to be the only one without clothes. I want to see you two do the same to each other." Buckley giggled, and they turned to each other. It was one of the most erotic sights I had ever imagined. Their skin color was almost the same. Sin was about one tone darker. She was more muscular than Buckley, a little less curvy, but toned to perfection. Her breasts were a little smaller. Her ass, covered in lacy white panties, was one of the most impressive I've ever seen, firm, and silky to the touch, as I couldn't help myself. She shrugged and laughed. "Small butts matter," she said. "Yes, they do," I smiled at her. "Yours are very significant, Sin." They both laughed, pushed me back onto the bed, and climbed on top of me. Firm breasts slid against my skin. I rolled them both to one side and started kissing their breasts. Then I pulled away. "I want to see," I said. "Show me how it works." I didn't know what to expect. Will I be jealous? Will it be exciting or scary? I had to find out. I've seen enough adult movies to know that two hot women exploring each other's bodies is extremely erotic. I find it much more erotic than watching a man and woman have sex. I don't really like adult films, but if I did, I would prefer to see two women. I'm not attracted to men. The two women lying on the bed with me were certainly very sexy. One of them was very beautiful, with icy eyes and ash blonde hair. She was my best friend for 20 years. I loved her with every fiber of my being, and she was my wife. The other was a dark goddess, one of the most sensual women I had ever met, and the best friend of the woman, my wife. I didn't expect that I would like this erotic show they put on so much. I wouldn't want this to end. "Are you okay, baby?" Buckley asked. "Are we fine? Was this what you were thinking?" I could barely speak. Yes and no," I finally managed to say. "God, girls, you destroyed me. Yes, I'm fine and we're fine. But who could have expected this?" They laughed again. "Well, you can't stay destroyed," Sin giggled. "This is a party, and you are a favor. Give me a minute to rest," I protested. "Lord, you ladies are hungry." "Tell me, what are you thinking about?" Buckley asked. "I can't think," I told her. "I'm too shocked to think." "Give me a minute." I hugged them, stroking the silk of their backs, feeling those magnificent breasts pressed against my sides. How did I feel? What was I thinking? I wasn't sure. I didn't feel jealous or threatened, at least not yet. To feel this, I needed to see where this relationship would lead. They both willingly shared themselves with me and with each other. I found the two of them together incredibly sexy and erotic. I had never had a threesome, never even fantasized about it. But the reality turned out to be much more than my imagination could imagine. Making love with Buckley was a spiritual experience for me. I found that making love to Sin was the same, but in a different way. These two women were in excellent physical shape. and I had a hard time keeping up with Buckley, much less both of them. Men who dream of a threesome must get used to the idea that they will be spectators or participants in it, mainly as objects of pleasure. I had never been a spectator sport, but watching them together was a primal pleasure. I decided I liked it. As the days, weeks, and months passed, I found myself treating Sin the way I had only ever felt about Buckley. It was strange. I didn't expect anything like this. I never dreamed that I could have such deep feelings for someone, and it bothered me. I talked to Buckley about this. I tried to be as sensitive as possible, afraid that she would be offended by the deep feelings I had for Xing. My fears turned out to be completely unfounded. One evening, I sat her down at the table when I returned home for something I needed. "We need to talk," I told her. "Not here," she answered me. She led me into the living room and snuggled next to me on the couch. "Well, that's better," she purred. "Baby, I don't know how to tell you this," I said. She looked up at me, and I sank into liquid silver. She pressed herself against me a little more. "Just hit me as hard as you can," she said. I took a deep breath. "Buckley, you know that I've loved you almost all our lives," she nodded. "So, it seems to me that I'm falling in love with Sin in about the same way." "That's it," I said it and waited for the explosion. There was an explosion, but not what I expected. She squealed and jumped into my lap, peppering my face with kisses, and finally burying her face in my shoulder. Her arms wrapped around my neck, hugging me so tightly that I could barely breathe. "I'm so happy, Blake," she whispered in my ear. "I was so hoping this would happen. God, I love you. I love her too, Blake. And I hoped you would feel the same. I figured you couldn't help but fall in love with her. But I didn't want to push it or anything. Can we love her? Will you love her with me?" It was a change. I was so worried that I would hurt her, and she hoped that I would feel the same way as she did. "Buckley, we need to communicate much better," I told her. "I almost had a heart attack here." She laughed. "Yeah, maybe we should work on that." They spoiled me to death. Sleeping between or next to these beauties was addictive, and I didn't fight it. We had hundreds of long, serious conversations where we explored each other's feelings, laid the groundwork, and asked where we were going. Sin was the sweetest girl you could imagine. She was ebullient, soft-spoken, incredibly smart and sensitive. She had a brain to match her body, and like Buckley, she was very comfortable in her own skin. She had her own home, but it became a place where she came when she wanted to get away for a while. After that first night, we all became exclusive to each other. In terms of attraction, she was more inclined towards femininity, but she was quite comfortable with me. It was several months before we were able to make love together without Buckley. Early Saturday morning, Buckley was called to the show, and Sin and I were left alone to sleep on our big bed. I woke up to the sound of an alert on my phone, reporting that I have Snapchat. It was a text from Buckley saying she would be home in a couple of hours. As I put the phone back on the nightstand, Sin rolled over to me. Those incredible soft brown eyes opened and she smiled sleepily. We made slow, sweet love, and Buckley came home. Her clothes magically disappeared and she joined us. I looked into her eyes, seeing only love and excitement there, and realized that everything would be fine with us. When I woke up, it was already 1 in the morning. I didn't know what woke me up, but I was alone in our bed. I heard a faint whisper like noise. It came from the monitor on the dresser. It was Harper, who tossed and turned in her sleep. I crept down the corridor and looked into her room. I walked over to her crib and looked at my little sleeping, dark-skinned angel. She was wet, and I changed her clothes. A few minutes later, she was asleep again. I returned to the bedroom, and the light from the pool softly filtered through the window. I looked through the panel, and there they were, 2 stunning women dancing together on a diving platform in the moonlight. I took the monitor and went outside. A moment passed before they noticed me. They were taken by surprise, and then Sin noticed me. "Hey, baby, is everything okay?" she asked. I nodded. "Get up," Buckley beckoned to me. I sighed happily. Everything was okay. They were there, dancing, but to my tune. Or maybe I danced to them. Either way, it was a great composition. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.